The Philippines is a Southeast Asian country in the Western Pacific, comprising more than 7,000 islands. The Philippines has unique geographic characteristics and serves as a crossroad of the Orient, and because of this, it is rich in terms of natural resources that can attract tourists. Travel and tourism needs to be supported by an enabling ecosystem which includes modern infrastructure in the form of public transportation and airports, a suitable business environment, safety and security, government policies advancing tourism, competitive pricing, and of course, natural and cultural resources. However, when it comes to sustainability, the Philippines has good and bad practices. Here are the following examples.
Some of the good practices of sustainability in the Philippines are having an efficient waste management system. Some of the local barangays put up a material recovery facility or MRF where collected garbages are sorted properly into organic waste, non-biodegradable, biodegradable, and residual trash. Residents are also encouraged to practice the 3 Rs: reduce, reuse, and recycle, to carry out proper waste segregation, and to participate in cleaning drives and other related clean-up activities. Second, creating sustainable public transportation system. The national government, LGUs, and private organizations have already started acting on the problem through different initiatives. One of the most popular is the creation of eco-friendly public transportation that will replace old and clunky jeepneys and buses. Some green public transportation systems that are in public in select cities include e-jeepneys, e-shuttles, and e-tricycles. Third, devoting more areas for green public space. Many new developments in Metro Manila are allocating more public space for the residents. Property to add more exotic ones including resort-like swimming pool areas, football fields, emergency clinics, places of worship, and even learning centers. Fourth, solar panels. The use of solar panels, solar-powered batteries, and windmills have also been proven useful not just in lessening electric consumption but also during emergencies. It also helps provinces with no access to commercial electricity to use power-based technologies to aid them in their livelihood and daily activities.
Implementing laws and ordinances for environmental protection. In the recent years, the national government has enacted laws to address the decline of the environment. For air and water protection, there is the Clean Air Act of 1999 and the Philippine Water Act of 2004. To improve the way people dispose their waste, the Philippine Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000 was put into place. Meanwhile, the RA 9729 was enacted to create solutions to help mitigate the harmful effects of climate change. Aside from these regulations, LGUs are also pushing for sustainable solutions in their localities. Many areas in Metro Manila have already banned or reduced the use of plastic bags and other materials made of plastic. Tree planting. An initiative aiming to plant 35 million trees by 2020 was launched during the celebration of Cebu Provincial Tree Planting Day. The Cebu Tree Growing Initiative is a collective effort of different stakeholders who agreed to work together for a province-wide tree growing. It was launched after the Run to Plant activity in Danao City. It aims to restore and conserve Cebu's forest land and promote interlocal cooperation, public-private sector partnership, people's participation, and results-based monitoring and evaluation. Beach Resort embraces green sustainable practices. In Palawan, where one can say that the rules are even stricter and more comprehensive, Astoria Palawan went over and above the requirements to ensure that the resort operations would not compromise the natural beauty of the resort property. The resort's water supply comes from the mountain spring, but to ensure its cleanliness, a water filtration system is being used. The water quality produced is similar to mineral water in a refilling station. Astoria Palawan also uses EcoWaste, a food waste processor imported from Singapore, which efficiently turns food waste into clean water that can also be used for watering the plants. Organic farming. Many farmers and agricultural industries have seen the potential of organic farming in health and profit. Some communities have even begun creating compost pits to aid them in fertilizing their soils to produce higher quality of crops. On the other hand, the bad practices are: number 1, quarrying or mining. Mining industries and companies would have negative impacts on the environment. Notable studies reveal that mining is not good. Many mining areas throughout the world show the impact of man's assault on Earth in polluted bodies of water such as rivers, mine dumps, and waste areas. Number 2. Ocean dumping or throwing garbages in the ocean. The scale and the magnitude of the ocean dumping are not just vast but are so huge that our entire civilization would be wiped out with the intensity of careless dumping. The discharge of blast water also caused the problem by way of ocean waste. Blast water tends to proliferate and transfer organisms. Number 3. Improper waste segregation. Philippines has been facing a lot of problems nowadays concerning different factors which making it live in this very competitive world filled with different nations and be able to survive too. One of those problems is improper waste segregation. Improper waste segregation is a contradictory of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle in the idea of waste management. Number 4. Exploitation of coral reefs and using them for souvenirs. This type of destruction to marine ecosystem is currently seen in many of the world's coral reefs. Add to this behavior the acidification and rising temperature in our oceans brought about by global warming and have a man-made recipe for disaster. Number 5. Deforestation. Forests in our country is very rich in biodiversity. Many of our plants and animals can be found in the rainforest. It is due to the constant high temperature and humidity in the tropics. Unfortunately, many forests are threatened due to deforestation. The primary reason are commercial logging and cutting of trees to provide for their agricultural needs. 6th is destroying the habitat of animals. The encroachment of human populations in several plant and animal species' natural habitats has been a primary agent for the loss of biodiversity. Displacement from one's habitat leaves species vulnerable to harsher new living conditions, predation from other species, and scarcity or inaccessibility of resources required for survival. Worthy of note in this case is the heightened vulnerability of endemic species or those that belong within a very restricted geographic area. In the Philippines, deforestation is a leading cause of habitat destruction that negatively impacts biodiversity on an exponential scale. Poorly controlled logging and mining activities have created mostly irreparable damage to forest cover, affecting the diverse assemblages of flora and fauna that inhabit those primary forest territories. Findings stated in the DENR Philippine Forest Statistics establish that only about 24% remains of the country's forest cover, with lows falling as badly as 20% in the late 1900s. Regardless of the slight improvement over the past decade, these numbers still illustrate a severe drop from 70% at the start of the 20th century. Next is the illegal dumping of garbage. Cebu City Councilor Joel Garganera submitted a report to the Court of Appeals on the reported illegal dumping of garbage by at least 5 establishments, which allegedly violates the closure order of the Inayawan landfill facility. Garganera, who was the former chairman of the council's Environment Committee, said he has a valid basis for filing the report before the Honorable Court even though the reported illegal dumping was done into a property near and not inside the Inayawan landfill. It was Cebu City Environment and Natural Resources Office Chief Nilda Cabrera who divulged that at least 5 establishments disposed tons of trash near the landfill. Garganera's ally, Councilor Raymond Alvin Garcia, said that even if it is true that the trash was dumped near the landfill and not inside, this is still a violation of environmental laws.
falling trees. The National Union of People's Lawyers asked a local court to cite SM Baguio in contempt for refusing to accept an order stopping it from uprooting trees in Monada Hall in Baguio City. NUPL, which represented Baguio protesters in seeking the Temporary Environmental Protection Order or TEPO, the Baguio Environment Court eventually granted. SM Baguio refused to receive the TEPO issued by the city's Environmental Court on Tuesday, April 10, and continued earthballing trees on Monada Hill. At 3:30 p.m., the sheriff of the Environmental Court served the TEPO issued by judge. The order was supposed to stop the cutting of trees on Monada Hill, where SM intends to build a parking facility and an entertainment, dining, and retail plaza. The last one is keeping wild animals as pets. Keeping wild animals as pets is illegal and can land one in jail. Environment Secretary Roy A. Simato issued this reminder following the rescue of a pangolin, also known as Kaylee Theater, at a posh subdivision in Muntinlupa City recently. Collecting, hunting, or possessing wildlife species, both flora and fauna, without a valid permit from the government is illegal. Wild animals, including pangolins, are protected by the government and our laws, and it is unlawful to keep them as pets. Pangolins, especially those endemic to Palawan province, are critically endangered and protected under Republic Act 9147 or the Wildlife Conservation and Protection Act. Under the law, mere possession of a wild animal, particularly one considered critically endangered, is punishable by maximum jail term of 4 years and a fine up to 450,000 pesos. All of these bad practices is considered as one of the largest threats that are being looked at in the world today. In conclusion, environmental degradation can happen in a number of ways. At the point when environments are wrecked or common assets are exhausted, the environment is considered to be corrupted and harmed. There are a number of different techniques that are being used to prevent this, including environmental resource protection and general protection efforts. If we are not careful, we can contribute to the environmental degradation that is occurring all around the world. We can, however, take action to stop it and take care of the world that we live in by providing environmental education to the people, which will help them get familiarity with their surroundings that will enable to take care of environmental concerns, thus making it more useful and protected for our family, other future generations, and the tourism industry.